the ones to pick up the Zeriban, but that's the thing left open this time round is that Hecarim. Now, let's just see what OMG answer into this in terms of the jungle pickup. But it looks like they are really heavily potentially prioritizing this Gwen, and it is technically a flex. It can go in the jungle as well.
It can, and we rightfully the priority there, because that last game from Shanji was despicable, and you do not want to be going against that Gwen again. But they are going to be going against that Gwen again, as the Hecarim took that priority. It didn't make it through the first game because it was banned away by Team WE, but this time making it through, very high priority for themselves, making sure that BeiShang is set up. Now the Jinx priority for OMG.
Yeah, so Hecarim obviously a jungler who can threaten that Jinx, but the fact that you don't have that Gwen Xin Zhao means Abel should have a much more enjoyable time than Jhin did have in that last game. Now, we do see the Ryze come in, so has that ability to lean to the side lanes for Shanks. You know, he has the agency that Creme had in the last one, and also we then get the Jayce coming in to match up well into the Gwen. LeBlanc will come through. That was something that was banned away in the first rotation last time, so Creme on a very potent pick to make things happen. OMG, no surprise, ban away AD carries here. WE, it's a little bit trickier, right? You can look at the support role. You could look for jungle. The Gwen is still technically a flex, but I think maybe you just end up targeting the jungle here and kind of force the Gwen into the Jayce matchup.
And especially, you know, getting the better end of that matchup would be a boon if you're on the blue side there. But that second series or second half focus in the picks and bans is going to be very interesting to watch and keep hold of, as the Trundle was the first ban of the second phase from Team WE. The Aphelios actually the target from OMG, as well as the Senna.
Interesting. We haven't seen too much Senna. Obviously, it has risen in priority. Things like Senna Tahm, Senna Seraphine. There's been whispers of them, but we haven't seen an awfully large amount coming out. But are thin in the pool of those AD carries, particularly Senna is something that's quite long ranged to go up against Jinx. Now, Jarvan will be banned away. There's still Viego open available. Still Lee Sin open available. And Lee Sin, LeBlanc, a pretty strong combo. Kind of crazy that with this many jungle bans, the Lee Sin's kind of just been overlooked, but we'll see if Aki wants to go in a bit of a different direction.
Oh, you know he wants to go for the Lee Sin. It's all about the flavor there. I actually appreciate it. I mean, like you were kind of mentioning, that Lee Sin LeBlanc combo is so deadly when they get off the ground rolling. It's just funny to me that, you know, top two priorities for Aki were banned away in that Jarvan and the Xin Zhao. They know that Aki is the functioning piece here to make everybody else work out, and they want to target that a little bit more. Here, though, the Jhin locked in for Team WE, and maybe try to pair with a little bit more engage in the Leona.
Yeah, so pretty threatening lane, strong combo, a lot of lockdown. I feel like honestly Thresh could be the play here from OMG. Might be difficult to keep Abel safe on this Jinx otherwise, and obviously there's a lot of pick potential already between that mid jungle. You could definitely provide a bit more by following up on that. We'll see what they opt to go for. Instead, potentially leaning towards the Tahm Kench, so less safety in the laning phase, but arguably more in the later stages, right? The eat from Tahm Kench, really powerful at getting an AD carry out of a sticky situation. Hecarim dives in, you solo your AD carry. Not only do you keep them safe, but they end up popping out with this huge shield as well. So seeing that one come out, and honestly, I think WE have got a lot more tools, right? In terms of having this. Well, I mean, I feel like they had tools last time, they just weren't able to execute, but they got a good lane matchup top, they got a good lane matchup bot lane, they have the Hecarim who's going to scale well, clear fast, and the Ryze who can roam. But my concern is this mid jungle. Aki and Creme were on point last game, and now they have LeBlanc, Lee Sin, a staple combination we've seen countless times over many different years, many different metas, because it's so simple, right? You dash forward, you land the root, guaranteed sonic wave connecting for the Lee Sin, huge amount of pressure from level 3 onwards, huge amount of burst damage and mobility. So for me, it's all about that mid jungle for OMG.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I will say there's a little side spotlight on Cold now that he picked the Tahm Kench for himself, because those late game gobble ups are going to be so important for poor Abel to navigate the team fights. But again, if Aki and Creme get ahead, that's not going to really matter. On the flip side of things, though, for Team WE, I still do feel like it's centered around BeiShang on this Hecarim, right? A little bit more mobile, a little bit more quicker of a clear speed itself. But do we see the focus towards his bot lane? Now that the Jhin is locked in, do they try to force the bot lane of OMG's hand, or do they still focus towards these solo lanes?
Yeah, I think they have options, right? I think top lane, you know, you're gonna have a Jayce who's gonna be finding priority, who's gonna be favorable in the matchup, who obviously benefits massively if you can play towards him. But also, bot lane just has fantastic setup, right? Side of WE, it's so easy with the Leona Jhin just to lock down a target. And remember, you know, Tahm Kench isn't that same safety net he was like a year, well, yeah, about a year ago, when it was kind of like you could eat out of anything, right? You had the W as your gobble. Now, because it's locked into your ult, you don't have as much safety pre-6. If you end up engaging bot lane onto Abel, all Cold can do is kind of pop his W to disrupt, but there's not really much else, right?
Exactly. And so that's where it becomes more important as the game goes on, but still the first early segments of the game are going to be dictated by Aki and Beishang. And we saw last game they started both on the bottom side of the map. We'll see if that differs at all this time around, because we do have Beishang hovering towards that top side, and that leads more towards trying to get Xing and Kedaya ahead towards this bottom side.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against an AD gank towards the bot lane now. He's Shanji moving in. Actually saw a bit of this from the side of the day. The Gwen's level 1 really strong. It's so hard to deal with.
It really is. It pushes Beishang right out of the blue buff. He goes to the Wolves, takes the consolation prize. Will be set back a little bit on his clear, though. Shanji himself needing to get back to the lane, but it's perfectly timed.
Yeah, they get the information, you know. It's not actually set Beishang back too much because you can very easily do the Wolves, but you just force him away from the blue, slow him down a little bit, and kind of annoy him.
That means a lot, though.
This is the most frustrating thing.
That means a lot. Like, even seconds against a Lee Sin in the LPL means so much. Like, the fact that you see all these unique paths from Lee Sins, Aki himself being very aggressive, like, that does matter. We'll see if it ends up actually mattering, right? But I feel like those little intricacies are so important.
I mean, you take any window you can, and Shanji lost absolutely nothing from it, especially as in this match with the top lane, you kind of might end up just being forced to kind of hide away from the harass from the Jayce unless you're able to get on him. Do you see some light trading in the bot lane? The big thing for me, though, is Shanks is going to have that early priority in the mid lane, so he's going to be able to move to Beishang for these scuttles. But it looks like it's just going to end up be a trade between them. Now, my concern is that I talked about before, right? Jayce is going to be the one who's pushing in this lane for the most part, right? And your jungler's on the opposite side of the map. So if the wave state ends up in a bad position, it is going to be very rough for BiuBiu, right? Potential opportunity for Aki to come in on a gank. We saw an early gank from him in that game 1 to great effect.
And he is hovering up that way. We'll just go for the Scuttle Crab first. Luckily, BiuBiu just has a ward up there just to help out a tiny bit for a little bit longer. But it is something to keep our eyes out on, as we do have pings from Beishang towards this bottom side, but not really a moment to do anything as both lanes in an awkward position.
You know, we do actually see Shanks reset, but no real contest going to come in the Scuttle. Patient picks it up, and they'll just get some vision down and continue playing things out. Nothing too crazy happened so far. Aki is finishing his first clear, and I kind of want to see he's going to reset, probably head towards the bot side. I would be quite happy to see a play towards mid, right? If you get Shanks in a position where you can't pressure, if you put him behind, it makes it a lot more difficult. And that's the thing, right? As a Ryze, you can push the wave in, you can move quite comfortably. It is scary against a LeBlanc, though, because as much as you can out-prior quite comfortably, if you're walking into the fog, right, to move to a side lane, and LeBlanc is waiting, so easy for it to set up a pick onto you.
Yeah, we put a lot of that priority on the jungles and see where that early path is going to be, but still, the main focus is still back towards this mid lane, and especially like how that level 6 comes across. Do we see Shanks get the Realm Warp off first? Do we see that mobility help Creme get into a gank position, or at least a side lane position? I think that is kind of what we're hedging our bets on.
Absolutely. And you know, as of now, things been pretty slow, and I think honestly WE kind of happy with that one. As much as there's a lot of scaling elements on the side of OMG, I think really getting the Shanks to level 6 comfortably, and honestly, just compared to last game, not falling massively behind early, definitely a positive, right, for the side of WE.
I would
the
say
longer
so.
the game goes, the longer it is until you lose.
That's some good thought process there, Alex. Is that how you're so big brain? Is that just the approach you take to everything?
Yeah, that's my game style.
No,
I think that's more of an LCK play style.
Oh, gotta appreciate it. We do see the TP used by BiuBiu towards the top side to answer that crashing wave. Beishang taking the Raptors here, but Aki is in wait. Abyssal dive on the trigger pull for Cold if he gets into trouble. See if they can. Priority in the bot lane does enable this. Kedaya walks straight into the tongue lash, but it gets Aki out just in time because collapse was coming from Team WE.
Yeah, it's good moves though from Kedaya to be there, just to provide that cover for Beishang.
Oh, no,
And now Abel's actually isolated.
Abel! The flash gets away. The devastating charge pushes him away because of the flash.
Honestly, I think he could have taken a different path there for Beishang. He could have actually gone past the traps. There was a little gap between them. You keep running, and then Abel, has to flash maybe beforehand.
Ooh.
Able to catch him out. Oh, Cole might be in trouble.
Oh no!
Flashes for days. Flashes for days.
Oh, that feels bad to have that happen twice in a row. But hey,
Yeah,
at least
not
they're
much you
getting
can
the
do there.
flashes, okay?
Yeah, Summoner's been for the bot lane. A lot of safety eliminated, and it is going to mean they can just quickly move on to this dragon. Good plays coming out from Beishang, and it's that proactivity we talked about. We wanted to see it. We wanted to see him.
Oh my god, they're gonna go for it. There's no way. Okay, Aki can't get to it. He's just trying to get to his teammates. They might have just gotten overextended here. The dragon goes down, and so does OMG. This is a 4v3 now with Creme on the back end. He gets one for himself. Cold trying to get out, has the thick skin, pops it. He has no health under that thick skin, and Shanks claims the kill.
Good play coming up from WE in their first group. The critical thing, right? We talked about the Ryze Realm Warp. Shanks gets there first. Creme is able to trade a kill on the back end, but WE are able to respond first and secure 2 kills, secure the dragon, able to steal away a little bit from the jungle as well. And in the meantime, this is that matchup we were talking about, right? BiuBiu having a fine time in the top lane up against Shanji, applying that pressure. May have overstepped though. No, I think he's okay.
It's been such boisterous trades up there at the top side. Both of them just putting all the damage in. But we'll get a replay of that last fight.
The critical thing to remember, flashes down for both the bot laners for OMG, and they just end up bursting out Aki. Shanks is instantly there, and you see Creme comes in, does manage to find a kill on Kedaya, but like the fight has already gone heavily in favor of WE, right? Cold is just running away. There's nothing that Abel can do in this situation. Aki's already dead, and now they're looking for more.
Beishang is quick on the trigger here. Aki gets out with the ward on drop, but the onslaught of shadows follows it up. Aki too swift.
Beishang is just banning flashes for days, right? And it feels like constantly flash, flash, flash. 3 in the passage of play recently coming out just to try and avoid him. But at the end of the day, it just means more opportunities to punish, right? His ghost is coming up pretty soon. And it's going to be a while before Abel, Cold, and Aki have their summoners available. Now, you have to be a little bit careful with the great health.
The flash out gets away from the Abyssal Dive, and you needed to have that happen or the Flame Chomp was going to come right down on you. Cold in some trouble now for Kedaya collapsing back to his lane.
Shanks is
and Shanks is coming too. Cold needs to find a way out of here. I don't know if it's going to be possible. He's going to play a little bit of trickiness here. Kedaya will walk into the bush and see him eventually around that corner, and this will continue to be some yakety sacks here. Where's Papa Smithy when you need him? Cold.
Yeah, I think Cold wants
support
to
all combat.
Dun,
Dun, dun, dun, dun. We'll see. Okay, Cold dies to Kedaya. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's better giving it to Leona than anyone else. You have to be quick as well, because if Xing lands a deadly flourish from long range, you don't want to give the kill to the AD carry. But yeah, Cold, a little bit out of position, went for the dive, burns Xing's flash, but isn't really able to do any more on the back of it.
Looks like get a little replay.
And we didn't actually get to see this as we were following the Tahm Kench.
Oh, okay. All right. That's pretty painful. All the hard work for Beishang put into the Aki's pocket.
This nearly happened to the dragon because he smited the dragon early, so he'd have a second smite towards the end. But like there was a brief window where potentially could have been stolen. He didn't have his smite available there, so Beishang plays with fire and gets bit a little bit, and now OMG looking to potentially capitalize in this top lane. If they find a gank onto BiuBiu and translate into a herald, definitely a way to get themselves back in favor in this game.
Yeah, just trying to bait out BiuBiu a little bit. Aki pulling the trigger on the Sonic Wave and the resonance there, but not going to use the Rift Herald just yet. It's not the time yet. As both supports do get onto the roams here, nothing really going to come of it just yet. As Shanks in the mid lane, keeping that priority up. Creme on that reset now. But we'll see if we get any more shenanigans in the next little bit. But for now, I think both teams are pretty fine with the game state and kind of taking it slow.
And kind of looking at OMG where they will look to use this Herald, because I think that's a big way they can sort of find favor. Using it on the Jinx, definitely a lot of value, giving that gold over to Abel. But also just be able to translate into as many places as possible. You can see top lane, it's not a fun matchup for the Gwen. And, you know, the phase rush here for BiuBiu as well means anytime Gwen thinks, okay, I can find a good trade, BiuBiu just procs phase rush and just runs away, right? And you can't really stick to a target super well as a Gwen. Like, you could use Ghost to help you. That's why Gwen takes Ghost, right? One of the biggest issues with Gwen is sticking to a target to get your sustained damage out. And the fact that BiuBiu can just knock her away with a hammer form and then sprint with phase rush makes it very difficult to do much in this matchup.
Absolutely does. But I do want to turn back our attention to this mid lane, as we still do have our main stars. 2-0 for Shanks, 1-0 for Creme. That was still very integral to getting the mid to late game win conditions off for both teams. But it's not been the primary focus. It's been out of lane focus that we've seen from these mid laners. And Creme, already in position here towards the bottom side, will hinder a little bit of the transition from Team WE, but they've got everybody coming down here at OMG. Need to be real careful. The squad is here, and the fight ensues. Team WE kill Cold, kill Abel, and what a squad goal.
Man, just the full 4 of them packed in the realm warp like it's a small car, all flying in. The clown core, all 4 members coming out, and they just easily pick up those 2 kills, right? Nothing that OMG could really do there. They do manage to get the tower though, right? A lot of gold onto Abel on the back of that, and actually 600 gold lead over Shing. But the fact that there's that backlash instantly, pretty painful. And now WE able to pick up the dragon as well. That will be the second off the game, and it will. Ooh,
nah.
Yeah.
Almost kills Baesung though. Aki goes for it. It flashes. Doesn't get the Dragon Rage kick into Creme. Will secure that kill. And now WE in some trouble here. Solar Flare comes down. The Abyssal Dive is available soon for Cold. Aki follows up Kedaya. He's going for the kills here. He wants it so bad. And they don't get it just yet. As Kedaya goes golden, the Abyssal Dive will ensure it happens. Cold gets locked out by the Deadly Flourish though. They need to get out of dodge. Shanks is putting in some work, but it's a 2v4 and Team WE back away.
Bit messy from WE, and you know what? I'm pretty sure Baesung had his ult available throughout the entire passage play. Just ult over the wall, right? Don't be greedy. Get out. You're like 10 HP, but they end up overstaying. They end up being a little bit overconfident, and OMG can pick up 2 kills and actually pull ahead in terms of gold. We'll see that again, and yeah, he has ultimate. So Baesung, right? Here's the play. I am 10 HP. I will ult over the wall, but instead he gets so greedy, right? Ends up getting kicked, and the follow-up's there. And now WE committed to defend their jungler. So now Kedaya is in an uncomfortable spot as well. This was just unnecessary. Just, you got the dragon, get out, don't flip it. They end up risking it, and they end up backfiring. Giving over a couple of kills is not what you want to do in this situation.
Definitely not. And they tried to turn it around, right? But it's just the numbers advantage at that point. Team WE do take the time.
And he died.
Yeah.
In a replay.
Apparently.
We don't get replays this series. Every time we go to a replay, something happens or someone dies.
Apparently, as Shanji takes his first death, they also get 4 plates on the top side as well. And that's the lead you're asking for there for BiuBiu.
So what will happen now is we'll get another replay to show what happened during the last replay. And then during that other replay, someone else will die. And we'll just keep, the whole game will just be replays constantly.
I can't wait. Bring it on. We'll just delay the storytelling as we go further into the game. But in all actuality, it feels a lot better here on for Team WE than it did last time, where we saw the incremental gold lead start stacking up for OMG. Where this time, we got some of that proactivity we wanted from Baesung. We got some of that early fluid movement from Team WE, and they're going to continue to do so here. Aki bit off a little bit more than he could chew. He kicks back Baesung. Baesung survives. Aki gets out with a nice one, but he dies anyways. The Mega Death Rocket on the side. Abel gets the snipe.
Ends up being a 1-for-1, right? After all of that, Baesung not able to avoid the Super Mega Death Rocket. Ultimately, feels like WE again looking for that agency, making things happen. But OMG able to answer. I'm still concerned though, right? This mid jungle, this Lee Sin, LeBlanc, we wanted to see them have that early impact. Hasn't really come to fruition. They have started to find a bit of headway in this mid game. It still feels like it's WE who is setting the pace in this one.
Yeah, and it's also a lot of the factor being Shanji not in the same powerful position that he was in game number 1, right? Like, nobody could deal with Shanji, it felt like. They tried. They put a ton of resources up there, but he was able to deflect them almost every time. And this time, they have made sure to put down Shanji. Yes, you still have the late game scaling of the Gwen, but the side lane pressure isn't as much, and it doesn't enable Aki as much. And you see it fluidly here in this game, how Aki hasn't had the same complete momentum takeover that he had in that first game.
Yeah, the Ryze picks have been pretty instrumental, right? The priority, the realm warps, and I think We've done a good job playing around them because you can have the tools, but the tools don't mean anything if you don't use them effectively. Now, OMG, the second Herald should be able to take that mid tier 1, pretty solid structure to get in terms of opening the map up, and WE will respectfully back away, not wanting to get caught out, not wanting to contest, because for the time being, Shanks pushing top. BiuBiu was applying pressure bot lane. Will they get this second tower?
Realm Warp comes in for Shanks. The minions are getting few and far between, and now Abel gets caught by the deadly flourish. Here's the gobble up, though. Is it enough? Abel turns it around. Look at the damage there on a Kedaya. BiuBiu on the backside, though. They can't kill OMG just yet, and they're completely split. Now BiuBiu goes in for the damage. Kedaya is the focus for some reason, and he makes it out. OMG flub the target focus, and BiuBiu shuts down cold.
Super messy there. And honestly, WE, I have to say, they're engaged. A little bit suspect, right? Their game plan was let's focus the Tahm Kench. The fear from Beishong pulls them backwards. But at the end of the day, the Tahm Kench is fine to soak all of these abilities to get Abel out. The turnaround is nearly there, but BiuBiu comes in, and this Jayce is strong enough to really solidify things in WE's favor. Definitely not the best engage, but they managed to limp out of it successfully. And this dragon spawning in 10 seconds, they are there first. Might look Shanji there.
Oh, he made it.
Oh, so close. It's just their dragon, though. If WE can get this one, a pretty big one.
Shanji.
And we see some poke coming out. Yeah, BiuBiu getting poked down here is critical.
It absolutely is. TP utilized from BiuBiu towards this mid lane. Needs to get in his fight. Just complete the Rift Maker. So that's a big power spike, it feels like. And as well as all the mythics available here. Kedaya is going to be there in front line, but Xing opens up, has to cancel because Creme is on the side. And I feel like that's huge for OMG. Shanji going into the mid. Uses the mist. Creme looking for Xing on the side. Flashes for him, but Xing flashes himself. This is Flash Game 5000 here. And BiuBiu still firing away with those accelerated shock blasts. Team WE now just starting up the dragon. As Xing will catch out Creme on the side with one of those traps. Oh my god, Aki's into the pit a little bit early. He's back to the team. It's all over the place. This is so scary. But BiuBiu is winning this out. And there's the onslaught shadows into the combo. But can Shanji turn it around? He's in the mist. He dies. Creme goes in. But Creme is eliminated. Aki is making something happen. Creme dies to the dragon. And Aki, and that's it. He's still alive somehow. Creme makes it out. And it's blood everywhere around the dragon pit.
What a messy fight. Now, Aki might be looking for a little bit more here. I think he'll just back away.
They're TPing.
TP comes in. Yeah, this should be dragon for OMG, right? They have the smite still on the map.
How did that
We'll
happen,
just start up, man.
I need a replay,
this is chaotic,
man.
right? This was chaotic. You know what this needs? This needs a replay. Another one to look over. I think the critical thing is, right, Jhin is constantly being pressured by this LeBlanc, so WE have to pull the trigger. They have the tools to, and they just go. Big disruptive AoE. The CC layering isn't the best, and there's a lot of turnaround damage from Abel and the Gwen. But then that's when Creme arrives on the backline, able to do so much work. Aki cleans up the tanks, and in the meantime, BiuBiu, they were looking for Creme. Creme's already gone back to his distortion, right? So it ended up being pretty messy overall, but ultimately, I think WE made the right call given the circumstances, because Jhin's time on this earth was limited. You just saw Creme constantly looking for him on this flank.
Yeah. I love that he opened up the curtain call and just immediately canceled it because Creme was right. He got one shot off. He's like, nope, 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 nope. I'm backing away. And then they both double flash on the backside of the dragon pit. This game has been chaotic. And it's actually working in favor of Team WE until that last fight, where it felt like they were winning. They had the wombo combo, but the damage didn't get layered down. And now they lose that dragon, and they lose a little bit of that strength they had in the game. Yeah,
I mean, the threat of the soul was really big, especially being that it would be that Hextech Soul. makes your engage so much threatening when you have the AoE slow. But I think one of the issues was the CC layering wasn't too flawless, right?
Yeah.
You had the onslaught shadows come in, they were feared, and the solar flare from the Leona was right on top, and it just meant like you were wasting so much. If they layered them a bit better, and it's hard to do when you're going for those snap engages, because if you leave it too late, they'll just flash out, right? But they didn't really get the value. They weren't able to capitalize on that situation, because I think honestly, if the layering was good, they would have just steamrolled them. It was a really solid engage coming out from BiuBiu there.
It was. I did get an update from production. Xing apparently had a device problem, so we're working through that right now. We'll get right back to the game as soon as possible. But until then, I want to continue breaking this early part down, right? And the fact that it is a much different performance from Team WE. Feels like they finally found a little bit of a foothold against OMG. But that's nowhere near assuring anything, right? Like, we just saw that fight go down. We just saw the first dragon for OMG go down. And that means that they are finding resurgence in their own right. That Lee Sin LeBlanc combo, the double L's, are working out towards the W.
Yeah, but it's a lot more difficult in the team fights for OMG to play things out, because for WE, they have such strong engage tools. They just charge at OMG, whereas it's kind of like Creme finding the flank angles to threaten the backliners, right? It's about Shanji able to be able to get his damage off. It's about able staying safe and being able to kite backwards, whereas WE is just, oh, we see target, we charge them, we kill target. It's that simple.
Speaking of, the target might be able here. It's smited away by BiuBiu. As Abel will not be getting the red buff today. Kedaya caught out by the root. I think a decent amount of damage. The second root going down. They have Aki coming here too, and WE might have stayed a little bit too long. They are caught out in between a rock and a hard place. The kick comes back. The onslaught of shadows trying to separate the damage a little bit here, though. OMG Shanji is back in it, though, and the mist is huge. The realm warp gets them all out. They still get BiuBiu. The Mega Death Rocket misses. What a play, but OMG turned right onto the Baron.
Yeah, and they can't reset despite the low health bars. If Creme kills BiuBiu, it's going to be massive.
They have the curtain call opened up here, doing some decent damage onto Cold. They go for it. They get it. BiuBiu on the side with the accelerated shock blast. The Baron is so low. The smite comes in for Aki. Now the fight afterwards for OMG. They've got it all day long, baby, as Baron comes across and OMG take a firm hold.
Massive overstay by WE in the enemy jungle, right? They don't have their top lane there. They don't have the super strong Jayce. They end up getting caught out. And in the resulting play, BiuBiu goes down. The realm warp was slick, but the fact that they left that member behind.
I gotta see how
this actually panned out. Yeah, the Sonic Wave means they can kick Shanks in this situation. The ult onto the Jinx means nothing with the Tahm Kench. And then the realm warp comes in, and BiuBiu just isn't able to get back in the side. This is kind of similar to the Fnatic situation. There was a bit of confusion about the mechanics of the realm warp. If you end up pathing out of it, if you click out of it at the last second when you're on the edge, you can end up not getting teleported. So perhaps something like that ended up happening. Either way, BiuBiu gets left behind, not saved. They did leave a man behind, and then as a result, lose the Baron.
And this poor BiuBiu just sitting there like, guys, why didn't I get the ticket? Please. I just wanted to join you. But in that case, it was not so, and BiuBiu died, which lent to a big objective take from OMG, and snowballing that even further is OMG towards this bot side as they bring 4 members to bear.
You know what? I gotta say, Cold, not a KDA player in this one. 0-6, but doing a good job, right? The engaged threat's being shut down by this Tahm Kench now. You see WE is just grouping up mid and just trying to force, right? They do have a wave top, so on the back of this, they can very easily move there.
They're going to keep Abel down at bot lane, though, with the excited procs. Can burn through those towers pretty quickly. Actually, he's going to go ahead and back, but the focus would be back towards the top side for Team WE. They walk away with a tier 2 in mid, though.
Yeah, it's great, right? You're down a Baron and you're trading. A lot of gold will go over to Abel, right? The tier 2s in the side lane offer a lot of money, so definitely a nice scenario, a nice payday for him. And if you look between AD carries, it's basically a whole item lead between them. So still not super positive for WE. But the fact they're trading, given that they have a Baron, is pretty nice. But they will end up just losing this mid 2-2. It's already too low from that Herald charge earlier. And now it feels like WE, once again, right, setting up, looking for those good engages. Dragon in a minute, and it would be their 3rd. So see if they're going to be able to get in a good position to contest that. But for now, OMG, with the pressure from the Baron, have pretty solid vision control in the area.
Yeah, I was hoping. Yeah, okay, he did finish it. I was gonna say Shank needs that Doms, and he did just purchase the lower Dom, so he will have a little bit of clear against the tankier members of OMG, and I think that's super integral because we have seen how much of a menace it can be when Cold gets onto the backline, when LeBlanc gets a little bit on the backline, and having some damage to peel through some of those bigger targets. I feel like for Shank is super important, but surviving, I guess, comes first and foremost.
And that's the thing, is it's been really hard. When your whole team's diving forwards, as a Jhin, it's like, you know, you can obviously pop your ult and follow up, but when there's LeBlancs flying around, it's so scary, especially when the vision control isn't perfect. And now this is a situation where you're pushing into enemy territory. You can see Creme already looking to move one of those flank angles and be in just a scary position.
See, this is what they need, though. BiuBiu needs to be getting those accelerated shock blasts onto the right members here. Creme spotted out on the side. Curtain call comes away. Aki's in the pit. The dragon almost dead. Beishang goes in, but the dragon dies to Shanji. Shanji almost died immediately after, though. And now you've got the startup from Abel. He's getting excited, and everybody from OMG is joining the party. Look at Creme. He predicted Shanks trying to get out, but he doesn't get the kill on him. And everybody dies except for Shanks, who got out with a Realm Warp VIP. But does it matter if you're the VIP? If you still lose the game, Shanji is on to the inhib tower in topside. They're TPing. They want to snowball this.
Yeah, there should be enough time for W to respawn and defend, but they're going to lose a lot of their base in this situation. You see, Aki's pushing up a wave mid. They may end up taking 2 inhibitors off the back of this.
No, they didn't get it. No.
A little minion.
No.
OMG.
All right, well, we'll come back. The next wave, we'll get it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And so that is huge.
There we go. There we go. Okay, top inhibitor down. Mid still up and available. But a massive lead now for OMG. 5,000 gold up. That second dragon is secured. Really strong, by the way, having Hex Tech dragons on a Gwen. Attack speed and ability haste. Super high value. Oh, Creme. Plenty fishing. Won't find anything, but yeah. It just felt like in that fight, WE weren't able to find a really convincing engage, and OMG just absolutely crushed them. Shanji's so strong right now. We'll get the replay. And yeah, the curtain call comes out. Look at this engage coming out from the Hecarim, right? There just isn't really the follow-up on the backline. So they're shredding the Hecarim. And then Aki gets this beautiful kick on the Jayce. And as soon as the Jayce dies, it feels like the fight is kind of just over.
Look at Creme, who's backing in the bush, is like, oh, Shanks, you're coming to me? Oh, okay. Doesn't end up getting a little bit of an overextension there. But I like the idea of OMG not letting anything go from Team W, right? Like they trounced them by surrounding them and executing the team fight faster than Team WE could. Where at Team WE, if they have that trigger pull, we've seen it time and time again, the onslaught of shadows into the solar flare, into the wombo combos, but that's where the strength of OMG comes, if they can catch them off kilter, just like in game number 1.
Yeah, and it just feels like Creme and Aki have been playing these fights so well, using the mobility to cause problems, because this is what WE want. They want to charge forward, but look at Creme.
Shake, go away! Creme was just looking for it, immediately pulled everybody back from Team WE. And it will be a quick turnaround from Team OMG, as they will look at the Baron.
And now Creme is just playing disruption. It's a lot of ground to cover to get over to this Baron. And they're just doing so much damage to it already, so I'm sure if they'll even get there in time.
All right, Cold
is
the front man.
Through.
Oh, no. I was going to say, Shing, no! Shing is the trouble. Okay, he gets away, but now he's in the jaws of Aki. As Aki goes gold, and Beishang getting so low. Shanji trying to put in work. Already Beishang down, and the rest of Team WE will fall shortly after. Aki's going crazy, Abel's going crazy, and that's a double kill, triple kill rather, for Abel, making a quadra. Is he gonna finish it off? He steps in melee range, fish bones to the face, and OMG will secure the win. A 2-0 victory for the squad, and Team WE will lose their winning streak.
WE definitely doing a better job in this game too, but they just couldn't find it. Abel fully online on this Jinx. The team fighting is stellar and able to pick up a quadra kill to finish this one out. OMG, it's been a bit hit or miss this season. This is definitely a convincing one.
That is huge, and in terms of bolstering themselves absolutely gigantic. The first game easily in their control. Second game, they had to work for it. They had to rip it from the grass with Team WE, and it was through that excellent execution. It was through that tag team duo we set up from the beginning of the day that is an integral part to OMG in Aki and Creme.
100%. I mean, again, this game too, it felt like the Lee and LeBlanc didn't